Hey everybody, Asher here, back with more Kerbal Space Program, where today we are going to be, we're going to be continuing our cleanup of the prior space program, where we did talk last time about some of the missions that we have available, but some of those involve getting our core team back. So we are going to be kind of long-range goal getting the Jewel, but short-range goal is to actually get these two ships docked. So let's go ahead and go to target mode here, and all we are going to do is try and get ourselves as close as possible, and then hopefully we won't have to do too big of a burn to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Now I do have my fuel stuff going here, so we'll see real quick. You notice the target velocities are just drifting off a little bit. It is going to be a bit faster as we go around. When I was doing this last night when I was recording, I acknowledged to you all that this would be a very sloppy orbit here. Not orbit, but transfer. And that seems to be the case, but fortunately we are turning our ore into fuel pretty efficiently. So we should have all the fuel that we need to make this happen. Oop. Let's go ahead and not worry too much about keeping the lights on here. Alright, so let's stop you. And we still have some fuel that's not being used right now. So if we do it like this, 320, and this is tough to do in the dark, but we're going to do it anyway. Alright, so transfer here. We don't need all of these engines. The hope is that if I need to do a little bit of a fuel transfer from Ike, that I can do it with the ship. The original goal was to have this to transfer some ore back from Ike in case I needed some additional fuel to make this happen. But from the looks of it, that may not be necessary. There's Ike anyway. Ike is not... Well, let's not hit the wrong buttons here. See, 67 meters per second is not terrible. Let's get a little closer. Because all we're going to do is zero out our velocity. You see that we're going... actually a lot closer, 40, 30. Just letting the gravity of, almost said Minmus, totally different planet. Let's not miss our mark now. So there's the cloud enhancement mod. I forget exactly what it's called. EVE. Like I said, I'm not too thrilled with how the clouds look on this one compared to the other mod. But with 1.1 apparently coming out very soon, there's going to be a lot of room for new mods, and hopefully... This is not what I want. Wrong marker. What you got to do to make this work is... That was the prograde marker towards target mode. What I need to do is to burn retrograde of my target and zero out my velocity. You can see we are at... we're kind of on a different plane here. All I want to do is match orbits. We do have some RCS. We did use up all of our fuel that we have. We should be alright. Not 100% clear why those are the engines that are firing, but so it goes 987654332. Pretty close. We'll take it, we'll knock it down to zero. I could really tweak this hard with there you go. Just close enough. So for those of you who haven't done docking procedures or haven't necessarily watched some of my earlier videos, the way I do docking is fairly straightforward in my mind, and I hope that I explain it sufficiently here. All we're going to be doing is reuniting Valeria and Alstead Kerman, who've been stuck on the surface of Duna for way too long, with Jebediah and the rescues, or the people who are on Ike for way too long. This is a robot mission was sent over here, so I think 30 is going to be pretty good. Like I said, we're just trying to fly pretty close. We want to get within 200. That's great. But yeah, 1.1 is apparently coming out pretty damn soon, within like a month or so. Which I love that a Kerbal Space Program is still getting support from the developers. Not everyone is necessarily in a position to do that in game development space, but here we are. The most important thing about 1.1 is that you get 64-bit, a stable 64-bit client, which I know some people watching this will be like, watching this way down in the future is like, it's always been 64-bit. Life's been 64-bit. No, not really. And once upon a time, that means that you had to deal with crashes from not enough RAM, which is one of the reasons that since upgrading my operating system, I use the term upgrade a little loosely here. Let's see here, so 1,000, 900, 800, probably good enough time for a burn. We're burning retrograde to our velocity, the velocity vector, which is yellow, not retrograde to the pink marker, which is burning away from the ship here. So we're pretty close. I think, let's see here, 500, 400, yeah, 500 is going to be good. Just do a nice, slow, easy burn. Alright, close enough once again. You can even burn it just a little bit more, because 0.3 meters per second. If you're familiar with real-world spaceflight, you know that 0.3 meters per second is really freaking fast. There we go. So we're just going to do this again. We're just going to turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit something. Alright. Gotta actually turn to the thing I'm trying to fly to. Alright. And you can see that even my rotation changes the velocity just a little bit. We're not going to be able to really zero out our velocity too hard here, but if we look at the map view again, you notice that I'm not doing a lot of this from the map view. I could, because right now we do have a, well, we don't have a very good intersection right now, even though we have matched orbits. So what that tells me is that we need to get even closer. Let's just do a nice ready steady, 5 meters per second. These are both pretty big ships. So hopefully this burn will be enough. I think I'm going to have enough fuel to land this lander back on the place where it came from, Ike. But I'm not 100% sure. It's going to take just a little bit of work. But we'll give it a shot, maybe later, once it gets closer to. Because we did check the Rescuer 2 last time and it did have enough fuel. Funny how I'd kind of forgotten some of those details. Let's get just a touch closer. 300, 200 meters. Almost collision course. 100 meters. You can actually see it. 5 meters per second, not that slow. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. I could have been even more aggressive with that. It's about the time where I want to start thinking about using RCS to make these adjustments. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. We can cheat, quote-unquote, here a little bit by doing a brief time acceleration just to stabilize ourselves. And if we don't want to do that, where are my buttons? Okay, we just want to zero out our target velocity there. There we go. Alright. Now that's the easy part, I guess you could say. All we need to do is to set this to target. I remember a world that I used to live in where I didn't know that you could set to target the actual docking port, and docking was so much more difficult. And yes, I am well aware that one of the landing legs is sticking out. That's from the actual Duna landing with this vessel. So it's just something to consider. We want to point towards the target. And then let's see here. Just stabilize it there. Use the bracket key to switch between ships. There we go. Once again, not too thrilled with what the clouds look like. But we can see right away that we don't exactly have what I would venture to call something that's very even either. So we'll just see if we can readjust this appropriately. Once again, we have plenty of fuel because we only need liquid fuel. But if it comes down to it, we can see if the Duna refueler is actually capable of getting back there. And I think we are going to need to actually point ourselves away here because this is considered the front. So if we go like this, should work. Shad Hat and Jebediah are just happy as clams, I guess you could say. Alright. And looks like we have two matched orbits. Our next intersection is still kind of ugly. Alright. So all we're going to do is just a quick turn. And let's see if we can actually... wrong buttons. This is the kind of thing where I could do post-commentary on it later on. But for now we're just going to do live. Because it's been so long since I've done some good quality KSP videos. So all we're going to do is fly towards it. No, it's not the right button. What happened to my controls? Alright. What we want to do is to get the little circle into the big circle. And what this very likely means is that I'm going to have to get a lot closer and then slow down again. Which is okay, because I hit the wrong keys. Feels like I should know what my key bindings are, even after all this time. I'll just let ourselves get a little closer to touch, readjust everything. Considering how off the mark we were. Alright. Try us again. Fortunately, because it's Duna, we have lots of daylight. Because we are doing our maneuvers at about 400 meters per second. And I had an icon up there that I didn't recognize. What is that? Oh, just to the Space Center. No wonder I don't recognize it. I always use the escape key. Alright. So SAS on. Once again, our goal here is very simple. Just to point ourselves in the right direction. I could conceivably do this another way. Oh, I remember when I was thinking this kind of ablative shielding would work out. Well, so we could, we could conceivably, I'm using that word a lot. Let's just do it like this. So there's our target. Can we pilot from here? No. No, my right clicks are very angry with me. Control from here. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can get it. Okay, forward. Forward. Alright. So we have a very, very touchy ship. Alright, we're just going to back this up. See if we can zero it out. So this one's just really heavy. So what that tells me is that we just need to use the other ship to make this work. Stop our rotation real quick. Look at how far these ships are just not cooperating. This is why I did a lot of time acceleration in prior recordings. Alright, fly to it. There we go. Alright. We actually get this? Maybe? Oh, wrong button again. Alright. Still though, what you want is what we're getting here, which is your velocity vector and your target marker all in the same place. Everything coming together. Some people like to use the chase camera for this. I am not one of them. So we're going to slow it down to like 0.4. Do our last adjustments. Try and keep everything ready and steady. Looks like we are going to be there. Just gotta throw the brakes. Hopefully we don't have like a bad mashup, and let the magnetic force take the rest of it, and there we go. It's ugly, but it works. And we have a united crew. Hooray! There was much rejoicing across the land. Let's see here now. That means that we have Alstead who can EVA. And where are you, Alstead? Does this mean that you can actually take all the data And let's go ahead and just throw you... I guess we're going to throw him in the Science Center. That seems like a good plan. Assuming he has a monopropellant for himself, and assuming I don't explode this ship through some terrible, terrible bug. Alright. Press L for lights. Don't really need them, but it helps you all possibly see. And board. Grab. Board. There we go. Look at all the data we have. Isn't that lovely? So, Chad Hat, Alstead, Jebediah, and Valeria. We're just going to do the same thing for her. So, let go. Turn on your RCS pack. That's what we're here for. And what do you know? Kerbal rescue just about complete. We're going to let these ships drift together for now. Like I said, I may try a drone test landing on here a little bit later. But this ship certainly doesn't need fuel. 835 is enough to get back into Kerbin's sphere of influence, which is all I really need. Because we can always do another orbital transfer mission for something like that. But we have all the science, we have the rescue, which I guess means it's time for us to go on to our next mission. Is once again, someone's gonna be really upset with how misaligned that is, but here's my caring right now. So, Duna, I think you've been sufficiently conquered. It's something, right? World first milestones. Our program has accomplished a spacewalk in orbit of Duna and a crew transfer near Duna. So those are some new things that were patched in. Actually, not very new. They were patched in a long time ago. But let's go ahead and go back to mission control and see what we can do next. Alright, so the game's trolling me here by saying plant a flag on Duna after I just did all those things. But we did grab a few new missions that we can play along with, including, well, I had it here for just a second. It was a 2-star mission for getting signs from Gilly. Okay, orbiting Gilly. Which I guess is part of exploring Gilly, so if we're going to stack contracts, that's fine. Kind of like we have our Joule orbital station in Joule here. Oh, there it is. Extract science from Gilly. Oh, it must be because these are old patch missions, so those are up there. So science data from space, and then we also got Marie Kerman from orbit around Kerbin, and Camphor from orbit around Kerbin. So, you know what? We need some crews. Let's check the radar. We have 2 people. We've done these kind of multi-pickups before. So there's Camphor, and just equatorial orbits. Kind of a relief after some of the crap we've had to deal with before. Alright, so one thing I am always pretty curious about is, are my old designs going to hold up after patches, after months of stuff? So we are going to go ahead and, let's see here, do we actually have one that's right overhead? That's not good timing. We kind of want a daylight launch anyway. So let's actually shoot for that. We want to have both of these. It's a lot easier if we don't have to chase them down. So we're going to do this too. And do a quick save just in case things crash on us. I've already had a few chugs and slowdowns and things. Alright, so just a quick... We're going to get Marie, and then we're going to get Camphor, which I guess Camphor's wondering why are we even here. Okay, here's our ship. It's a bore, a probe controlling it. We do have SAS. Let's just kick up the things and launch. Now, some of these ships were designed in the original 1.0 release, where you want to do your gravity turn right away. That universe is not really where we are right now. We are kind of back to the supersphere of wanting to do your gravity turn around 10k meters unless something else has changed in other patches. But at least how things should work right now is that we should be able to get into a decent orbit with this one, maybe. Unless we just overheat with this thing. And I'm pretty sure I've done rescues with this before, but this is a saved craft from somewhere. And my parachutes just exploded. That's interesting. Or... oh, no, they didn't explode. That's another new feature. They're red because it's unsafe to deploy. Okay, so we turned off the SAS for just a second. We're pretty damn high. And hopefully we don't go too far off course. Said this is a bore, so it should not take too much. It's going to take some fuel for us to get up into the higher atmosphere. I have no idea if it's going to take the entire payload here or not. Looks like it might, actually. Well, we're getting some more heat resistance now, which is fun. We're not exploding yet. Fun with new rocket engines. Oh, I went a little too far. Alright. So we are out of the lower atmosphere. We have negligible heat damage. And it looks like we're just going to be relying on the poodle from here. There is a poodle in there, I hope, or this is going to be a really short mission. Alright. Now here's the fun part, part one, is that technically if we use a maneuver node like this, and it is okay that our orbit is a little bit higher, it's going to need to be anyway. Alright, if we're going to put our orbit around here, I have put up videos in the past for just how to orbit. Alright, it's a decent enough start. We have barely any fuel left in the bore. Let's go ahead and just burn it now. Alright. Okay, how long is it going to take us? A substantial burn, but not too much of one. About 45 seconds on each side. You always want to burn evenly, if you can. Alright, so apoapsis, that puts us really high up. Alright, we don't need that high. Don't need that low. All I really need is just a marker that says where I'm going, and then I can figure it out from there. Self-reliance, as it were. Okay, so we have this lack of crewed vessel, and we are about to engage in yet another rescue. I mean, you look back at all of the ships that I have designed for this series, and like over half of them are rescue vessels. That's just the state of Kerbal space program, I guess. The question becomes, is this drone actually going to be able to make it into orbit? That is 1,000 Delta V that I need. And I'm chugging through the fuel pretty good. Looks like we're not going to get overheating from the Poodle here. This is one of those engines that's much more efficient when it is outside of the atmosphere. But technically this is a cheaper launch because it's just one bore engine instead of what I assumed before. See, there's some clouds and lights. There's some cities down there. Some of the things that looked like clouds on Duna were actually cities. Which, like I said, is just a little bit frustrating. Kind of, maybe. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be in pretty good shape to get our rescue together for these crazy kids that keep going up into space. We keep telling them not to get stuck, and yet they just persist. Alright, that's going to be good enough, probably. So if we have... this is the target. It's going to take a few orbits. But eventually... okay, intersect 2 and intersect 1. Not terribly different places. Ugh. Probably about time to cut the video, though, so we'll probably do that in just a minute. All I want to see is if I need to do any other adjustments, or if this is gonna pass completely under us after this one trip. It doesn't look like that's gonna happen. It's not that aggressive. It's only like 20. Okay, she's actually, they're both actually pretty low. That is a little bit aggressive. All right, so distance at intersection. Yeah, it's hard to read when these nodes are all next to each other. All right, so what that tells me there is that I actually need to slow down just a little bit. So we'll do that real quick, and then we'll pick up with the rescue next time. And this is one of the times where I don't actually like using patch conics or maneuver nodes, because all I have to do is just adjust my orbit like this, and we can get our distances. Whoop. 3, 2... Okay, don't want to go that far. Actually got off the mark there. Don't need SAS on right now either. Alright, so just a tiny bit. We just want to be pretty close. But because it's a poodle, it doesn't have to be that close. So 1.7. There we go. Looks like that's about as close as we're getting. But when we resume this next time, we are going to pick up our 2 crew members, and then we're going to talk about the next mission design, because I did install Kerbal Alarm Clock. Yay! Our Duna to Eve window is next. I feel kind of responsible for the complete mess garbage that I left at Eve. And even though I kind of want to say screw it and cut my losses, there are people there that I want to get, and there are contracts for actually doing stuff on Eve and Gilly, so I feel like I should try it again. We'll see if we can design smarter, better, faster, stronger. But for now, that's it. This is Asher with Kerbal Space Program. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.